What's going on, YouTube? Hope you're having a great day. As you can see, I got a Q&A for you guys. The very last question, also, as you can see by the title of the video, something you want to stick around for. So if you enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new, subscribe if you want to. So yeah, guys, let's jump right into it. All right, so the very first question, I get asked this a lot. What do you use to record your YouTube videos with? I use the Canon G7X Mark II. It is kind of pricey, but it's a very good upgrade. I've been recording, like, my first 50 videos were on my iPhone, and it was just so much trouble. Mainly the editing, getting them on my phone to my computer was the hardest part. It took forever. So I decided to make the upgrade. It's a very small handheld camera, but the quality is amazing. So that's what I use to edit my video, record my videos with. All right, do you have people to help you exercise, or do you do everything by yourself? I've been working out for 4 years now. The first 6 months, I would say, my dad helped me out a lot with working out. He really got me into it. And like on chest day, he would pick me up and put me on the bench because I just wasn't used to it. I didn't know what to do, you know. But one day he wasn't here, and it was time for me to do chest. And I was like, you know what? I want to be independent. So I got on it myself, on the bench myself, and loaded the weights. And it was new to me. It was like, you know, it was scary because I'm in a wheelchair. I don't have much balance because of my core. And but I mean, I did it, and I was like, wow, hey, I can do this. You know what I mean? So that's how it started, of me doing everything by myself. But for the first 6 months, he did help me. All right, next question. Best moment of your life? I don't really have a best moment per se, but I was thinking about this question, and I think if I did have to say, probably when I went to Hawaii or New York. I went to Hawaii in like 2010 or 2011, I think, in New York in 2012, I believe. But those were like the great. I think I like New York better. New York is just so cool. I'm always like big cities. And just, you know, it's real happening at night. Times Square is like amazing. So I really love New York. I want to go back for like New Year's or Christmas one year. I think it'd be so cool seeing all the Christmas lights and stuff. What is one of your life goals? I have many life goals, actually. I have quite a few. But my main life goal is to be content, but also want to strive for more. So I want to be happy with what I have, but I also want to be, you know, better and try to do better emotionally, physically, spiritually. You know, I want to be happy, I want to be content, but also want to strive to be better, but not to a point to where if I don't get there, I'm going to be unhappy. You know what I mean? Like, everyone wants to have a nice car, right? Like a Mercedes or something. And, you know, I want that. But if I don't get that, I'm not going to be unhappy. But if I get it, I'm going to be like, hey, cool, I got a Mercedes. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to want more in life, but I also want to be happy with what I have. If that makes sense. That's one of my life goals, just to always be in a state of harmony with myself, if that makes sense. So, how do you stay positive? I have a quote, and I say this a lot. Nothing in life is a big deal unless you make it one. So, like, being in a wheelchair is not a big deal to me unless you make it one, unless I make it one. You know, like, it's just so many things what happen in life, you know, like New Year's resolutions coming up. Everyone's saying, like, oh, 2019 is my year. Well, yeah, people said 2018 was their year, 2017 was their year, 2016 was their year. You know, life is always going to have obstacles and problems. You just have to understand that and realize, hey, you know, it's not a big deal. It's just part of life. And as soon as you realize that, you'll be a lot happier, a lot more positive. And you also have to have a mindset of, like, you know, once something happens, like being in a wheelchair, I can't change that. You know, if let's say, I don't know, like you get let go on a job, right, and you're struggling, looking for another job. Well, dwelling on it isn't gonna help. So you might as well just try to do what you can to, you know, get over that hump. So that's kind of my attitude. I'm a always look at the glass half full kind of guy. I've always been that way. So, what's your favorite song? Drake. Anything by Drake. I listen to Drake all the time. 90% of my playlist is Drake. Anything Drake, his R&B stuff, his rap, his, some of his songs where he's just straight up singing. I mean, Drake. What's the hardest part about being in a wheelchair? Well, like I said, I'm a pretty positive guy, to be honest. I like to think so. Um, so really the hardest part is how other people view me. You know, people view me as not everyone, like my friends that know me don't view me like this, but people that have really never met me before and just see me out in public, they see a person in a wheelchair and they kind of feel sorry for me, or and they're like kind of then they go out of their way to like open doors for me, and I know they're just being nice and I appreciate that, but it's like I think people view me as like weak in a way because I'm in a wheelchair, like mentally and physically. But I mean, I'm not. I'm a pretty strong emotional guy. Like I'm super positive. I'm very independent. I do everything myself. So it's like I just want people to realize, like, hey, just because I'm in a wheelchair doesn't mean I'm not just like you. You know what I mean? I'm still independent. I'm still a strong person. I can still do things for myself. You don't have to treat me so fragile. And that's the only thing I don't like. People, I guess, underestimate you, and it's not because like they think they're all that and they think they're better than me. It's just because they're like, oh, he's in a wheelchair. He probably can't do this, do that. It's just like that's probably the hardest part, just how other people view you. All right, this question kind of bothered me, but here, let me explain. Can you tell me about the stuff you have to live with a spinal cord injury and how you deal with it? Okay, I'm gonna go in more detail probably in a separate video. But this guy that asked the question, he says, "How do you live with a spinal cord injury?" And I've talked to him before, and he's in a wheelchair, and he says things like, "I have trouble doing this, or I'm scared." And I've been in a wheelchair for almost 16 years, so or like 15 and a half years. So I'm kind of, experienced with dealing with stuff, but it's like, you know, if you're new to being in a wheelchair, or if you're new to an injury, or if something new happens in your life, um, you you ever get like a new laptop, for example, and you're so careful with it, or a new phone, and you're so careful, you make sure like you lay it down like this. You just like really carefully lay it down, make sure it's on there perfectly, and then like after a couple months, you're just like, you know what I mean? You just throw it around. It gets a couple of scratches. You're like, oh well. That's how it is with a lot of things. In the beginning, people worry about the small details so much it's not even important, and that's how it is. Like the doctors told me, like, now be careful now. Being in a wheelchair, your legs are fragile. I have broken my legs before, but let me tell you, the stuff I do, I mean, I flipped out of my chair so many times and done so much. That's how I live my life. I enjoy life. I'm not gonna go through life, cautiously because I'm in a wheelchair. I'm gonna live my life. You know what I mean? And I want other people with spinal cord injuries to realize that. It's not that serious. Just be careful. Don't do anything just stupid. The times I flipped out of my chair was like an accident. Don't do anything stupid, but I mean, don't just live your life like a delicate little, newborn baby. Like, you gotta be just so careful. And, I hate seeing people in wheelchairs live their life like that. But, I mean, that's what I'm trying to show people, like, hey, you don't have to live your life like that. So maybe as my YouTube channel grows, I'll get the message out there. Alright guys, final question. Title of this video, the question I've gotten all my life and I've never really answered, but I'm doing it right here, right now. Here we go. The question: how do you manage your sex life? Man, alright, so here we go. I am in a wheelchair. I was in a car wreck at the age of 4. It twisted my spine, leaving my legs paralyzed where I can't walk. That does not affect anything else. You know what I mean? What I'm trying to say is, like, I understand people just don't know. They really just don't know. But if you were in a car wreck like myself other people are in a car wreck. I, you know, unless you were born with like a illness, people can still, the birds and the bee. They can still do all that. Um, it's not as serious as people think. Me personally, I'm a very active person. I'm a very I think I like to say I'm pretty independent. I'm pretty strong. I can do a lot. I may be able to do more, you know, than someone else could. But there's also people that can do more than I could. It just all depends injury to injury. But the question is really that people ask me is, can I? And the answer is yes. Anyone can. Just because you're in a wheelchair doesn't mean you can't. Um, some people may have to take certain prescriptions, you know. Some people may not. Some people, it's never been a problem. It just all depends person to person. But I'm trying to like be an advocate here, like I said on my last question. People in wheelchairs, yes, they can. It's not a big deal at all. It's really not. Um, and I don't mind when people ask. I usually always tell them, but I figured I'd answer it on camera for everyone to know and hopefully build an audience. So where it's like, cause I'm not gonna lie, like I have been rejected by so many girls because they thought I couldn't, and my friends would talk to them later on, and they would tell them like, hey, yeah, I don't think he can, and my friends would come back and tell me, and my friends would tell them like, he can, right? And they'd be like, oh, really? And then they would like start talking to me. I'm like, man, get out of here, man. Like, I don't want to be with someone like that. Anyway, but I'm saying it's like such a misconception that people think you can't, and you can. Anyone can, really. Like I said, unless you were born with an illness, or something is just really wrong, then you may not be able to. But me and thousands, millions of other people in wheelchairs, so many people think they can't when really they can. It's a very, very big misconception, a very big, what they call that, misnomer. It is, yeah, we can, I promise you. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you're new. All these questions I got off my Instagram. Follow me if you want to, right here. But yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I'm so thankful. I'm glad. I like making these videos entertaining. I'm about to go work out. I got a very important video coming for y'all next week explaining a lot of stuff. I don't want to get into it yet. But yeah, I will see y'all in the next one, guys.